Hi there, this is Steph's Tutorials. I'm Steph the Video Guy, and this is how to use the trimmer in Sony Vegas. So I'm going to take a look at that. So here out of Explorer, we double click, and double clicking will open the file into trimmer. Then I just select a little chunk of it. And this is the way that the trimmer is set up here. You can use it on an external monitor if you have one set up through your FireWire. Remove current media, clear trimmer history, sort trimmer history. This is the file that's in there. So it's just a regular palette that you can move around. I just set it up right here so that way I could have my preview and my trimmer set up. And so alright, so I am going to just, what you do is you can just select a little amount of footage. Oh, there we go. You can go like this and you can preview your footage. Your footage previews directly in trimmer. So you can tell this, my aerial footage is really rough, but it'll give you a good idea of how to use this. Now, I'm going to just delete this. As you can see in this preview, there's a bunch of controls down here, and I'll explain them. But as you can see in this preview, this is a timeline, and this shows how long this is. So it appears to be just over 3.5 seconds. All right, so down here we've got loop playback, so you can loop playback for your selection. So you just select a little part of it and it'll loop it. You turn that off. Play from start. Yeah. Play. And it'll play from cursor. So, and then you can pause. So play pause. Play pause. Or play start. Play stop is it'll stop at the cursor. Now, if you go to the start and go to the end, you can select individual frames. Sometimes a certain frame will be glitchy, or really you want some real tight control. You just go to the frame, and that's this is 60 frames a second. Footage. So, all right. So we've got enable timeline overwrite, and that basically just means that you've got some footage on your timeline. Select that, and then it'll just drop over top, and that's fine. I mean, that's pretty much the way Vegas handles footage, anyways. So we've got add to timeline from cursor. So we've got, here we go, and then we can go, alright, there we go. So, and then it selects all of those and adds it to the timeline. Drag and drop is just as easy though. Okay, then we've got this. Subclips are an interesting thing. I'll have to do a video specifically on them, but you can create a subclip. I'll do that right now. It goes like that. You go, okay, you can name it whatever you want. So this is sub 1. Hit OK, and that'll show up in your project media. So sub 1 is right there, and it's got that you know, half a second that I selected there. And when you drop those in, it treats them specifically like an event, a specific event that will loop, as you see it by these little dots right here. It's looping. It's handy sometimes if you want to loop specific things. Alright, I'm going to right click here. You can copy the snapshot to clipboard, save this snapshot. You can choose to select video or audio only, and I'm going to show you something about that in a sec here. And a couple of random things. Markers and regions are a big part of Vegas, and if I hit M, That's a marker. It's an individual place, and say there's something specific in a certain time that I wanted to notate. You can do that, and you can rename it. So I can go 1, or M, and go wow. So I can come back to that. That'll automatically save because I've got that set up here. See, it says auto save. Well, it'll save it in your project file. So the rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward. You can do it on an external monitor if you've got a Firewire monitor hooked up. I used to do that with the television, and it worked pretty good. Now I've got a couple of monitors set up, so I don't really need it. Now I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go R. R is a region, so I'm going to go region 1. Now that's a region, so it's not an individual place, it's just a part of the place. You see, it'll select this region, and if I double click right here, right up here in this area here, it'll just select that. And I use that a lot, you notice, because that allows us to be able to grab it, just the region that you want, select it. And it doesn't behave like a subclip. It allows you to change it. And you'll see that these little lines right here show us where the region actually is once we drop it. It's really handy for identifying the specific area of footage that you want. Now, of course, the reason that a person uses trimmer, from my experience, the reason that you would want it is if you've got, so let's say your timeline, let's just say these are all events, okay? Let's say that these are events and they're all different events. You've got a secondary layer. Let's go insert video track here. Now you've got a secondary layer, and what you want to do is you want to insert something right here. So you're like, oh yeah, we got someone jumping off a dock, but we want someone splashing in the water. Now if we were handling this footage, I'll get rid of this region here. Now if we're handling this footage here, I only have this chunk here, okay, and then I'd have to cover up everything that I'm editing down here, and then try to figure out where in this clip I need to be. Not only that, and then I have to go like this and go S for slice, figure out exactly where I want this down here, and then I gotta get rid of these, and then I gotta go like that, and then I gotta, and I'll drop it, maybe that's right, and I'll drop it in, and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta make it a little longer, and it's really, it's about saving space on your timeline. So basically, it keeps those sorts of activities out of your timeline, so it's non-invasive. It allows you to mark your in and out points by using regions or by just using markers, hitting R or hitting M, and in that allows you to identify all of the tiny little places. When you've got, say for instance, you're doing a little documentary, you've got a huge interview that's an hour long. You want to be able to go, okay, here's that little chunk of that interview that I really, really loved. And I hit R, and then I drop it in. So I'll select it, drop it in, and there's that little piece of the interview that I really, really liked. That's the way I build all of my documentaries as well. All right, so you'll notice that sometimes it'll just select the video, and other times it'll just select the audio. See this little marker right here notates that it's just audio and just video. See that little video marker there? And it's just where you select it on here. If I make this bigger, it'll make it a lot more easier for you to understand. If I go on this side, it'll just select video. If I go on that side, it'll just select audio. And when I drop it down, it's just audio. When I drop it down, it's just video. See? You'll notice when I drop these in that it says, oh wait, the audio that matches up to this is actually on the timeline. It tells us how close they are. I've got snapping turned on, so it'll snap in place, but it tells us how offset they are. That's an amazing part about Vegas, is that if you've got an interview piece, and your audio is not snapped or not grouped properly with your audio, it'll tell you. It'll tell you when it's off. You accidentally slip it off, and you'll never have your voices not match up to your mouth. So there you go. All right. So, and this palette allows you to drag this around too. So there you go. I think that's pretty much it about Trimmer. You know, if you're going to try to do all your editing down in the timeline, there's a good example of that. It'll also drop your audio, create a new audio layer, which can sometimes, when you've got 5 or 6 audio layers, it starts to get confusing and it's a pain. So yeah, you want to reduce the amount of clutter you've got down in your timeline. Let's see if I've got something that I could show you. I think this one might give you a better idea of kind of what a common timeline will look like. So that if you see, I've got 4 audio, 5 audio, and 4 video. And so if I were to start doing things down on this timeline, you'll notice that I just grabbed a chunk of footage and put it after my project. That's how a lot of people do it. They'll edit from down here. But really, using the trimmer is just so much easier. Once you start getting used to these controls, it's just so much easier and so much more advantageous to keep the clutter away from your main project. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe.